Hello, a very good morning to you and many thanks for joining us for Friday edition of Sports Today on ABS TV. My name is Ike Mwokedi. Good to have you on the show, and we'll say happy weekend. Yes, the weekend should start on Friday, and that's why sports also plays a very pivotal role to your weekend. Welcome to the sports show. Today on the show, we'll be looking at a story of Aspire FC gaining promotion to the second tier of Nigerian club football. It's called the Nigerian National League. We'll look at the adventure, how far they have gone, where they are today, and expectations getting into the Nigerian National League. Just like clubs like Nnewi United who have been there, just like clubs like Odala FC who have been there, we'll be talking about Aspire FC on the show. Also on the show, we'll get to talk about the Anambra 11-year-old gymnast and sensation Stephanie Onu-Sirioka. A whole lot is happening in her life now, and she's been getting endorsements. Stephanie Onu-Sirioka was in South Africa. We'll tell you how she performed at the African Championship held in South Africa. Also on the show, we'll talk about Awka South Football League entering match day 8 on the sports show, and then we'll tell you about the league fixtures across Western Europe when the leagues are returned right now. What a battle it is in England and other major leagues in Europe, and those are some of the things we'll talk about on Sports Today on ABS TV. Let's begin with our first story on the show. Let's tell you that Aspire FC of Adazian have gained a promotion to the Nigeria National League. Aspire FC of Adazian have gained a promotion to the second tier of Nigeria Club Football NNL after securing a slender 1-0 win over Esian IFC of Calabar, and the goal came through David Okoye in the 3rd minute of the game. That was in the second half of the match. And what a story it is. And Hitato Aspire FC, an Anambra-based NLO club, are featured in the just concluded Nationwide League 1, topping their group D2 with 19 points from 8 matches and played, ahead of Ingas FC of Enugu, Malik Pro FC of Owerri, Bootsdor United of Owerri, and Odala FC of Uke. So these are the clubs that play with them in the group D of the NLO, but then they topped their group and then went to playoffs, which happened at the Berako Stadium in Makurdi, where they took on SNI and they saw them off by 1-0 to gain promotion to the NNL. And what a story has been for Aspire FC, and we'll look forward to them being in the Nigerian National League come next season. That's on the 2022-2023 season. And now let's talk about Awka South Football League. Yes, Awka South Football League enters match day 8 this weekend, and this Saturday to be precise. But these are the results of matches that played on match day 7 of the Awka South Football League. Onkoraf FC defeated New Sense FC by 1-0. It was a match played at the Christ the King's Parish Iswan Yocha playground. Fortune FC played out a goalless draw with the Wilson FC, a match played at the old stadium Awka, and Peace FC defeated Umuawulu FC by 2-0. It was played at the old playing pitch here in Awka. And quickly, let's look at the table getting into match day 8 of the Awka South and Football League. For match day 8, we'll have in anticipation of match day 8, let's tell you that the Wilson FC are topping the log with 19 points from 7 matches played and a goal difference of plus 17. Peace FC, they have 13 points. Yes, you can see on your screen 13 points from 7 matches played. They have a goal difference of plus 4. Fortune FC 11 points from 7 matches played, a goal difference of plus 3. Onkoraf FC, they have amassed 10 points with a goal difference of plus 1. And Umuawulu FC, they have a huge deficit of minus 15 from 7 matches played. Points amassed 3 points, and New Sense FC at bottom of the log, 2 points they have in the ongoing ongoing Awka South and Football League. So the enters match day 8. I'll be sure on Monday edition of the show will serve you the results of match day 8 results of the Awka South Football League. We'll move away from that. Let's talk about the Anambra sensation Stephanie Onu-Sirioka, the 11-year-old sensational gymnast, and yesterday or 2 days back I should say, was rewarded with a sum of 1 million naira and a free flight to Air Peace destinations for training and competitions, courtesy of Air Peace CEO and Chairman Allen Onyema. Stephanie recently won a gold medal at the Junior Olympics level of the African Club Championship held in Pretoria, South Africa. In a similar vein, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, has presented the sum of 250,000 naira and a letter of communication following her accomplishment. And Dare described Stephanie Onu-Sirika as a true ambassador of sports for the country. And Dare assured that the ministry was prepared to take her to the Olympics by the time she turns 13, just to watch the Olympics and have a feel of what the Olympic Games looks like. And the minister also promised that there is also another athlete, a great swimmer, that will be taken to the Olympics alongside Stephanie, and they will have a view, and it is expected that this will spur them to higher heights in various sporting fields. Mrs. Amaka Onu-Sirika, the mother of Stephanie Onu-Sirika, quite eulogized the sports minister for the support, and also Aline Onyema for the support given to her daughter. She says Stephanie has another championship built for October in the city of Liverpool in the United Kingdom, and also a training tour built for Stephanie also coming up in the month of October. This time around it is in Japan, and Stephanie is expected to feature at the National Sports Festival in 2 months' time, when Delta State will be hosting the whole country in the National Sports Festival. We anticipate she feature once more for Team Anambra, just like she has done at the National Youth Games and also at the National Sports Festival. And remember, Stephanie is an ambassador now, the sports ambassador, according to story, making the round. So we wish her all the very best in her career. And quickly now to football. Let's tell you that one of the key recommendations for the 10-year football development master plan report is the extension of the NFF Ajara Assembly and the Executive Committee. And the report suggested an expansion of the voting delegates at the NFF Elective Congress from 44 to 111, and a slight increase in the number of Executive Committee members from 15 to 16 to accommodate a woman, in line with FIFA thinking and new global practice. And the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has said the final decision on this recommendation lies with the NFF Ajara Secretary. And let's also move away from that and talk about athletics. It's all about Tobi Amusan. Tobi Amusan has been in the news for the right reasons in the past month or two. Yes, Tobi Amusan, the world and Commonwealth champion. Tobi Amusan will be tested tomorrow as the Nigerian defends her Diamond League title in Zurich, and Amusan will return to track after her title defense at Birmingham Commonwealth Games and world record, and the title win at the Athletics World Championship in Oregon. The 25-year-old, who ran 12.12 seconds in the World Championships semi-finals, will be hoping, yes, I should be hoping for another strong run with a field as strong as that in Lausanne. So we wish Tobi Amusan all the very best as we anticipate more to come from her in subsequent competitions she will be part of. You're watching Sports Today on ABS TV. Well, time for us to talk about Aspire FC. Yes, we'll have to feature them today because this is a club that has qualified to represent Anambra State in the second tier of Nigerian club football, which is the business aspect of it, the professional aspect of football. It is called the most important league in Nigeria, the Nigerian National League, and Aspire FC will be part of this program come next season. Joining me on the show, I have the team manager of Aspire FC, talking about Austin and Malcolm Okoye, joins us on the show, and I equally have the brand ambassador of Aspire FC and also Spine Communications, which is the media aspect attached to Aspire FC, and the person of Chisom Omeokachie joining us on the show this morning. Good morning, lady and gentleman. Good to have you on Sports Today.
Thank you very much, Ike.
And first of all,
to be here with you.
I have to say congratulations for the Heroics qualifying to feature in the Nigerian National League.
Thank you very much. It's lost doing.
And it's marvelous in our sight.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, for the viewers out there that may not know, let me start with the team manager. You may want to tell us the history behind the club Aspire FC and getting to this present level.
Okay, of course, historically, Aspire started as from scratch, initially from gathering and the training of football-loving youths.
Okay.
they continued the spirit, of course, till 2018, when a benevolent and a philanthropist, a football-loving individual, took the responsibility of this informal group, and by having it registered with the state and with NFF.
Okay.
And of course, since then, Aspire have continued to make waves. I can say that we have achieved a lot of feat, despite its tenderness. The achievement has been a mouth-watering one, if I must say.
Okay. Now you've talked about this. Now getting to this level now, you've had, would I say, metamorphosis?
Yes.
From the lower aspect. In biology, they said egg, larva, pupa, and adult.
Exactly.
Maybe we've got to the adult stage right now by qualifying for the NNL. But let me come to the brand manager of Aspire FC and also the media aspect of Aspire FC, Spine Communication, which is attached to it. That's talking about Chisom. Now, tell us about the proprietor and his philosophy behind establishing this club and other football programs in place, which Aspire FC is an umbrella body also putting this up.
All right. Well, Dr. Emeka Okeke, who is the founder of Aspire FC Adaziani, has always been passionate about human capital development.
Okay.
That is what it is all about. And he has continued to invest in young people across different sectors and industries. Football is just one part of what he has dedicated his life to do.
Okay.
And the founding of Aspire FC has opened doors for a whole lot of young people in this in Anambra State. So it's not just about, for him, it's not even just about the club, it's about the sport and the people who are impacted by this sport.
Okay.
That is why he has also invested in other programs that Aspire has not even participated in, like the Super 8.
Okay. Remember Super 8.
Yes, he has invested in several coaching clinics in Anambra State. He has invested in the Bayern Munich Youth Corps by bringing them all the way to Anambra. And that's just to show you that it's not about winning titles for him, really. It's about seeing that young people are impacted upon positively.
Right.
And that is also why we have continued to capture these moments. And in the wake of it all, we have a documentary coming out now that captures all of the work that has happened for grassroots football in Anambra State. We're calling it Out of the Ashes, and it's coming out soon, and we can't wait to share it with you guys.
Definitely, we will have that on the show subsequently, one of and the big programs of Aspire FC and the proprietor, Dr. Emeka Okeke. Well, let me come to the team manager once again. Now, as a team manager over the years, how has it been administering this club?
Well, nothing about football can be said of it easy. But, it's an aspect of life itself that you learn on a daily basis.
Okay.
You make research whenever is required. And you continue to think positive, so that positive things will come your way. It has been a lot of lessons to me. And like I said, the achievement has been mouth-watering, if I must say. But it hasn't been easy. And I don't think there's nothing easy on earth. It's a matter of how prepared you are, in meeting your goals. The journey has been smooth and rough. But to me, it has been smooth.
It has been smooth and rough, but it has been smooth. Joining these
because
two
I've learned
components
a lot
together.
over the years.
Okay, I would like to ask you this. What was the experience like playing in the third tier, the NLO? Murky waters of the NLO. How has it been for you? And what was it like for the club and the experience you garnered playing there? You played there for 2 seasons, I believe.
Yes, we did. I might be tempted to say so many things about Nigerian football. But of course, Nigerian football is not different from Nigeria itself. They're all the same. The experience so far has been a wonderful one, but not really smooth because of how rigorous the process has been.
Okay.
I can say that in this very season, Aspire, as a matter of fact, even the last season, produced the best team. So it wasn't that difficult for us. But getting good players was quite difficult. But of course, looking at it holistically, Aspire produced the best team. From the beginning of this league to the end of it, even last year. Imagine playing the whole matches without losing a game.
Yeah, that's simply amazing.
So I think it's a wonderful experience to me for having produced the best team ever.
Okay, now let me come to Chisom. I know there are other football programs Aspire FC are putting up. Can you actually let the cat out of the bag on what we expect in terms of other football programs?
Oh, okay. So in the coming couple of months, we are going to, you can expect the football development program that we are calling the Anambra Futures League.
Anambra Futures League.
Yes, and
okay.
This is going to be centered on secondary schools in Anambra State. It's an effort to catch them young and provide a platform for them where they can, the young boys and girls who love this sport can see that they have opportunity and have a platform to showcase and possibly get mentors and sponsors. And we are also bringing out a program where people who are alumni of these schools can adopt their, schools and teams and sponsor one way or the other, donate kits, pay for tournaments and stuff like that. So that is one that Dr. Emeka Okeke, is very passionate about right now. And then, as you know, we have a couple of boys from Anambra that will be going to Germany this October. Yeah. And we are also trying to see how potentially building a Bayern Munich Academy in Anambra State where young boys can actually see what the future can be for them in this industry. We are also continuing with our coaching clinics and
we had the NLO Berekaya sometime this year, February.
Yeah, we had it also in 2021 last year. Okay. So it's something that is going to keep happening by God's grace in Anambra State. We are also telling a story of how football has actually liberated Ndibo in the past through Rangers, and how it can potentially do it again, not just Anambra now, but for Nigeria, and the importance of people, Anambra sports-loving community, to get involved. And it's not going to be a government project, it's going to be between public and private sector. So we are actually, like I mentioned already, we are telling this story through a documentary, and we are hoping that by the time it comes out that people are going to be touched. I'm like, oh, actually I can actually play a role, any small role, to help liberate football in my place.
Wow, that's quite amazing. A whole lot you have in your arsenal. Lots of programs by Aspire FC, from the NLO Berekaya Coaching Clinic, and now the Bayern Youth Corps there, and other football programs now coming through. So we anticipate more to come from them in the near future. You're watching Sports Today on ABS and TV. Our guests on the show, Austin Amakom Okoye, the team manager Aspire FC, and Chisom Omeokachi, the brand manager of Aspire FC and Spine Communication, which is the media aspect of Aspire FC on the show. Let me come back to Austin. Now, Austin, as you venture into the NNL, when are you beginning preparation for the season? And also tell us also about the recruitment exercise, because I know when you move to a higher stand of football, there ought to be preparation, and then there will definitely be recruitment for sure.
Okay, just like NNL is a different terrain altogether. It's not NLO, and we understand it earlier, and it has always been our wish, to get to that level and also ascend to the highest level in football, which is NPFL.
Okay.
Then that of preparation, and we're trying to get acquainted to it. In other words, we will first and foremost get acquainted with the new environment we find ourselves, which is what we are currently doing. Of course, we understand how economy is. So what we are doing currently is to do a kind of cost-benefit analysis, where we see how we can prepare very well, to embark on that very journey. So currently we are doing a kind of assessment. I believe this sometime we will kick off.
And definitely there will be some couple of friendlies to play before the commencement of the season.
Of course. The players are standby. They are still in the camp anyway. Because we feel that they are keeping them for now will give us opportunity of building a more formidable team.
Okay, now we know about Udoji United of Awka. We know about Trackers FC of Awka. We know about Jasper United of Onitsha. You followed football all through getting to this stage. Now I want to talk about the sustainability of the club, so that we won't have a situation where the club goes into administration extinction. What is the plans on how to sustain the club for now and the foreseeable future?
Like I said, it's only a fool that venture into a business without first doing whatever that is involved. Current feasibility study. As I said, we are studying, it's a different environment altogether. So what we are currently doing is to do a feasibility study so that we won't have a situation whereby we venture into, at the end of the day, what happened to us will end up happening to us. What happened to others will end up happening to us. So it's a game we have to be fully prepared to undertake.
Okay.
So I don't think the ill fortune that befell these clubs you mentioned will befall us, because it's something we are preparing very well to embark on, and I believe with the level of preparation we're putting in place, we'll get to our desired destination.
Okay, now let me ask Sam Chisom, based on the fact that she is on the brand manager of the club and also the communication aspect of the team. How do you showcase and market this club, Aspire FC?
Okay, so what we market and sell is the sports fundamentally before the club. We want people to understand that this is a life-changing venture. It's not just about a game, it's about impacting on people's lives. So all of our communication from pictures to videos is all about this is human capital development and this is how it's going to impact on young people's life. And our target audience are people that can actually support and sponsor. We've continued to change the narrative that football isn't, just a pastime activity or a hobby. This is something that can actually be your career. We have continued to individually market the players, capture them in their essence, and tell stories around them, their backgrounds. We won't have documentaries that we've made for individual under 15 players that we have brought up and has been part of the team. So these are just the activities that we have going on to market the club and to ensure that the club gets the support it actually deserves.
Quite interesting. Now, Austin, let me ask you these challenges. What are the challenges faced at running this club?
Well, the challenges are myriad, if I must say. They're enormous. But with consistency and focus, we'll continue to thrive. Part of the challenge, of course, is finance. But it's not just finance. Getting the right people to form the team or play for the team is not also easy, because of the system. If not time, I would have looked at so many areas. Like
definitely, time will always be.
Well, I'm considering time in terms of challenge.
Okay.
Because a part of the challenge as well is trying to equip the players with the right mindset.
All right.
Because I can tell you, in the Nigerian system, a good number of players are frustrated. It takes reading, research, and so many other works to place these people in the right disposition. Because what we continue to see on a daily basis is nothing but frustration, depression, that is as a result of the bad economic reality Nigeria is currently facing.
Okay, let me come to Chisom. I have to limit it to just 3 questions now because we have less than 4 minutes to go. Tell us about the Bayern Youth Cup coming up in the month of October.
Okay, so as you know, there are 3 boys from Anambra State that were selected to represent the Nigerian team, and plans are already underway. We are working on securing visas and flights and all that, and there's going to be 10 boys in total from the whole of Nigeria that will represent, and it's going to happen in Munich in October. So at the same time, these are young boys that most of them have never even crossed Anambra State before, but you see them now, they're going to be taken out of the country. And if there is always room for people to support endeavors like this, because you don't know who's going to be the next Wilfred Ndidi. You never know who's going to be, all these. So yeah, that is what we have going on now. Okay,
now Austin, as we glide towards the closing stages of the interview and the program, what support have you gotten for this club, Aspire FC, and also a follow-up, just modeling up 2 questions into one, the support you've gotten and the message to fans of Aspire FC?
Okay, in terms of support, I think we've received a lot of support from different entities. In short, Aspire is not just what it takes by effort of one person, no. Okay. It has been a matter of collective of young people, collective of industries, institutions, who are constantly bear in mind the development of youth. For example, we have GEO that are continuing to provide us with logistics and transport services ever since we ventured into this very business of football. We have like institutions like Rice Clinic that have continued to provide us quality healthcare services. Of course, one of the things we can boast of, is quality healthcare service for our players. We also have a Spine Communication that have continued to promote our brand, the media aspect of it, and GO Mobile Concept, and Royal Answer too. Our partnership, the Answer, it's not even worth missing in this very extension of gratitude. Answer has been very...
Anambra State Football Association.
Anambra State Football Association and Anambra State Ministry of Youth and Sport. These are all viable partners that have continued to support Aspire in one or two ways. And we're also pleading to the general public, the sport lovers, to also, we are telling them that the room is still open for everyone to come in.
Okay.
And for our esteemed teaming fans, we are thanking everyone for this great feat we've achieved.
I would like to take that as your last message. Now to Chisom, your final words as we jet.
Yes, so I'll just...
In 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, I just want to tell the general public to anticipate and expect the documentary Out of Ashes that we have coming out, to actually understand what we are going on in a very beautifully told story. It's coming out soon, by the end of this year.
All right, Mr. Austin Amakom Okoye, team manager, Aspire SU. Thank you so much for being on the show. And Chisom Omo-Okachie, the brand manager, Aspire SC and Spine Communication. Thank you also for being on the spot show.
Thanks for having us.
And definitely before we jet on the show, let's tell you that the Liga returns this weekend in England. Southampton will take on Manchester United. That match is coming up by 12:30 on Saturday. And Brentford, Everton, Brighton and Hove Albion will take on Leeds United. Chelsea will play Leicester City. Liverpool will play Bournemouth. And then Arsenal is at home to Fulham. It's a London derby, and that match starts by 5:30. That's tomorrow at the Emirates Stadium. On Sunday is Aston Villa taking on West Ham United. Wolverhampton Wanderers will play Newcastle United. Tottenham Hotspur will take on Nottingham Forest, I beg your pardon, is at home to Tottenham Hotspur. And quickly to Spain, Girona will take on Celta Vigo. Real Betis will play Osasuna. Elche will take on Real Sociedad, and Rayo Vallecano will take on Real Mallorca. Almeria will take on Sevilla. On Sunday, Getafe will take on Villarreal. Barcelona will play Real Valladolid. Espanyol will take on Real Madrid, and Cadiz Athletic Bilbao, while Valencia will take on Atletico Madrid. Well, due to time constraint, we will not be able to take all the fixtures, but that's the size of the show Sports Today on ABS TV. Thanks a lot for being part of it. We'll be back on Monday for another episode. My name is Ike Nwokedi. Keep sporting and have a lovely weekend. Bye bye now.
Losing your identity can be a long process over months or years, and it can also happen suddenly following a major life event or trauma. Loss of identity can result in low self